Hi. Okay, so your application is on. Okay, there is one more application that we have. We were trying to kind of access from the day one, but you guys would have noticed that it was not working, right? Maybe you can give a try now and see if you are able to. Maybe it might go down, but it has a different flavor again. I have given the link to everyone. Please try to access and let me know if you guys are able to access. Okay, so I hope it is now visible for all of you. Hope that application also you are able to access it. This is quite simple application, do not have too many complicated things. But just that for understanding point of view or certain things in that reference point of view, it will be good to use it.
I'm getting the server errors message because of the security reason.
Achha, okay.
It's not a Mac tool.
Then people can ignore it. Okay, so let's go ahead and yesterday you all remember that, guys. This is what I was asking all of you, right? About yesterday we discussed about common function, right? We discussed about these hooks, right? In Playwright we call it the hooks. So we talked about the three major hooks, right? Most of the people are aware about that. We call it a okay. So we discuss about that. Even that part everyone is aware about that. Group B. And then we talked about all this programming concept to make sure that we are fully aware about those concepts. The reason is the certain scenarios that you are going to do it, there we might require to use definitely the programming concept and the some concept of the titles. Okay. And that is where we talks about and we saw certain things yesterday. We used this keyword, we used the class concept, we used the function concept, we and some more concept we discuss about that, but you'll see some more concept today as well. Okay, so one of the very important topics in automation, basically I don't call them as a Playwright features or it is only specific to Playwright, okay, but it's a very important features which we call as a parameterization. Okay, how many people are aware about that? How many people has done that parameterization? Or what do you mean by parameterization? If someone asks you, explain me what is parameterization, how will you explain, guys?
Parameterization is a way of handling dynamic values.
Correct. Is a way of handling dynamic value is one way. What else? What else the purpose of parameterization? So by the way guys, parameterization is also called when testing. Okay, and parameterization is a very concept in world of testing, because of their two approach, okay, which makes them very powerful and highly used concept in world of automation, because many test cases which we are going to see that is another way, it's actually data, right? And that is what the two major approach. The first approach is where parameterization plays a very important role guys, that we called as there are two kind of situation basically. So one situation is to test, right, data, right, using application or via application. Okay, I'll talk about that, what I'm talking. That's what she said, very valid point. I have a dynamic data and I wanted to validate it, right? So there would be a situation scenario in front of you which you have to perform it, right? And the message is very clear. The data is changing, not the functionality is changing. And that is what we say, to test or validate the data using application or via application. That is a first. Second approach, where parameterization plays a very important role to test application functionality. To test application functionality using different data. So here we are not focusing on data validation, we are focusing on application functionality validation using data. Okay, that is your second important aspects and very important aspects. And parameterization plays a huge role. Okay, and I think whoever knows Cypress, I think Saurabh or someone, parameterization in Cypress, other places, Cypress, it is called fixture. Okay, but the same fixture concept is different in Playwright. Playwright use the different purpose for fixture. So that is what the question I was asking you this morning, guys. Fixture in Playwright is nothing but a call. They have built different fixtures concept. We have seen few. There are a couple of more are there. Like example, we have a page, we have a browser, we have a one more, which we'll see maybe little later, context, and we have a one more we call as a browser name. So Playwright has built different types of fixture concept. We have seen till now both these two, page and browser. We know the difference, we know the purpose, we know the advantage, and we also know where to use and how to use. We will see these two concepts as well, guys, down the line. Okay, again with the situation and scenario to understand where we use and how to use. But now let's go back to parameterization concept, right? Okay, now the first scenario that I talked about, right? You will come across many situations in your application where you have to validate the data. For example, again, depend upon application to application. Suppose I'll give you one application. This is a kind of, whoever is can access it, try this. This is called your flight booking application, right? You are working on that. And in this application, if you see here, guys, I have a, suppose one of the flight company who is going to start operation in India, right? Example I'm saying. and they have decided that, okay, we are going to run on these sectors. When I say these sectors means these are the departure city from where they are going to operate, and these are the destination city where they are going to reach. Now, as a test engineer, or definitely as a testing point of view, you are supposed to validate, right? What I'm supposed to validate? Whether do we have a flight available for each sector or not. When I say each sector, what I mean to say? If I go from Paris to Rome, click on find flight. Do we have a flight available on that sector? Again, Paris to London, Paris to Berlin, Paris to New York, Dublin, Cairo, right? All these, right? Again, same thing. Boston to all other sectors. So if you look at the combination, guys, we have how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 multiplied by 7 is almost 49 combination, right? Because if they are operating, there would be a flight on that, right? There would be a certain details around that. So here, I'm not concerned about too much around what? The functionality of the application. I'm concerned about the data. I'm trying to, and this is where in another language you can also say that your data is keep changing, right? Whether it is predefined data or dynamic data. By the way, dynamic, there is nothing called dynamic, I told you, right? But here data is dynamically changing. Now, if I have to automate this, I am not going to do like 49 test cases I'm going to write, right? Because the functionality remains the same thing. I have to just choose the value from drop down. I have to choose a value from the destination here, click on the find flights and verify that what we are expecting, because you'll be knowing your, right? So here only the data will be changing, right? That will qualify for this first round. Got it? Because here, and this is where the parameterization comes in a picture, because you are going to validate the data using the application, right? There are many situations you guys will come across where you have to validate your application or validate your data with the help of application or via application, right? Especially in banking application, insurance based application, finance application, we play with a lot of data. Data is important aspects of the application, right? And purpose of that to validate and check whether the respective proper output we are getting on, right? Imagine, I'll tell you one more scenario. When I was, see, if you look at this application, right? Look at here, I have a user by name called admin. So when I log in as admin, I have a certain permission rights and all, right? You have all seen yesterday. So I'll go and imagine I'll go and create a one user by name called. I'll give a role called ESS, not the, and I'll give a enabled. And I'll give a password called admin123, admin123, and click on the save button. So I have a one user by name called Dikshit, right, who has a role called ESS. This is again data, because I need to go, see here, look at here, when you are on the login page, you can see a lot of features here. When I click on that, log out and log in with that user, call Dikshit, and then admin123. Look at here. Are you guys able to notice something left side? Anyone?
We can't see any admin button and all.
Correct. Because that user is not an admin user, is a ESS. So it's a permission based, right? Imagine in your application, you have some role which is based on the permission based role, like a viewer, ESS, admin, approver, editor, something like this, right? Person who has a only approve rights, he cannot edit. Person who has a editor rights, he cannot create or do something, right? Person who has a creation right, who can create but cannot, like something like admin, or ESS who do not have admin permission, right? So here, if you look at other technical aspects, actually the data is what has a. So here I need to validate the different data. I have to log in one time with the admin, then I have to log in one time with the Dikshit, other user with the other, right? Permission based user, right? again, this will qualify for your guys the same purpose to test or validate the data. Because for that kind of situation, I'm not going to automate like I have a 5 different data of user. I'm not going to validate or automate like a 5 different test case. We're not going to take that out because only the data is changing. Application functionality is not changing. Functionality is changing means application, the steps are not changing. Agree? Example, just to showcase you, see here. I'll go to this here, and if you look at here in this approach, you'll notice one thing. See, username and password is changing. And based on that, I have to validate whether we are able to see those output or not. So this is a classical example of parameterization. Okay, that is a one thing, very important. The second one, it's your most of the test case qualify under that, which we say test or validate application functionality using different data. Okay, what does it mean? Let's understand again as application functionality. See, in many applications, you guys will notice that most of your test case are actually a data. Okay. For example, suppose guys, this is your login window, right? And here we have a username, we have a password already given. Now, if I ask you for this login window, can someone tell me how many test cases will you write? You all know that, right? Any requirement in this world will always have two scenarios we call as a positive and negative. From the positive and negative, we derive the test cases, right? So any case, guys, how many test cases you will write? One is username, I'll just enter that, password, and everything will have an expected result. Right? You know that, right? Without expected result. So first test case I'll write is like this. Admin, username is valid, password is valid. What should I expect? If I give a valid username,
user should be able to log in.
User
should be able to log in.
Correct, but that's a very generic message. Can automation think like this way? Is it possible for automation to think? See, that is a good message for human, not for machine, not for tool. How will you say that you have logged in? How do you convey to Playwright that I have logged in?
Maybe home page rectification.
Something, right? Some concrete proof, correct? No? Like example, I can say, if hey, I am able to see the dashboard, it means I have logged in. Makes sense?
Right.
Okay. What else? Do you think any other test case?
Boundary value analysis.
Yes, absolutely. But what are the test case? Boundary value analysis according to you. See, here one boundary is already set. This is the username and password. Agree? So what are the test conditional test? Suppose the second test case is something like this. Invalid username. Makes sense?
Yes.
This is what is your boundary, right? What should happen, guys? If username is wrong,
it has to throw some error message.
Error message, right?
Invalid user ID or something.
Correct. Okay, what is the purpose of error message? Why do we display error message? By the way, no customer asks you in the requirement document test the negative scenario, right? We does that. Why we does it? To make sure that it doesn't work, right? That's why none of the requirement document you will see where developer will talk about or any customer will talk about what should be the error message, right? Error message is basically the purpose of error message is to communicate the user that what mistakes you are doing, right? Are you guys okay with this error message, or do you think as a test engineer this error message is not communicating to the audience? What is your thought process, guys? See, purpose of error message is for what? To inform the user, right, what mistake you are doing. You will see many places, right? I'll show you just as a one example here. I know this application you guys are not able to access, but this is just for the reference purpose. See here. You can see that all this field now. What is the meaning of a star?
It's a mandatory.
Mandatory. What happens if I leave the mandatory field blank? See here, what is the error message we are getting? Field state cannot be empty, right? Field zip cannot be empty, right? So, purpose of error message is what, guys? We are trying to communicate to user that what mistakes you are doing, right? Are we doing the same communication in that login page? Or do you think, no, we are not? What is your thought process? We are. See, I'll tell you why. You're not supposed to inform the user here that invalid username, because it is depend upon application to application and page to page. This is a security page. Login is a very sensitive page, right? You should not inform because you don't know, there could be a hacker who is trying to write. So I should not inform the user here that what mistakes you are doing. I should just say that there is something wrong. Please figure out and okay. So invalid credential is a right error message. Okay. Third test case, username is correct, but by mistake while typing it, user would have typed over 4 character, right? Possible, right? Or someone would have forgotten the password. Again, the same error message. Any other test case according to you?
Checking the maximum length of a username and trying to add it. It should give an error message.
But question is, why should you go for the maximum? See, when should you go for maximum, special character and all those things? What you said is right, but there should be a situation for that. In here, it is very clearly says only this user is going to get accepted. So developer would have done very simple. If user is admin and password is admin123, login, else for everything ignore it. Got it? So sometimes you have to also think about, should I write too many test cases or should I write minimum test case and maximum coverage? What you said is a valid point, but may not kind of make too much sense into this situation, because here my username and password is already fixed. Understood? Everyone?
Yeah.
How? But I might test this. If I give username there, but password while typing it, I forget it and click on login. What should happen, guys? Here it should not display the message called invalid credential, because people will get confused. I didn't enter anything. How can you say the invalid credential? But for security purpose, you can still say. So here the message is required. So username is blank, but password I gave. Next is username I gave and password is blank. Even for that I should get this. Right? Do you think any other test case? We have covered 5. Do you think any other test case applicable?
Small case.
Maybe passing
letters.
username. Sorry, continue please.
Yeah. So password can have no capital letters, small letters.
Again, in this case, suppose password is fixed. I will not go for that, but what you said is a valid. In case I am creating it, that time it makes sense, correct? But it's already created right now. I'm not doing there is one more scenario I'll show you where it is possible, where it is required. In this case, it's not required because it's already user is created, right? So getting my point.
Yeah.
See, someone will say, okay, let's test both invalid. You should not do that. Anyone knows why we should not do both invalid? Any thought? Some people also sometimes I've seen people are writing both blank. You should not do that. You know why? Because we have already covered one of them is invalid. So if one of them is invalid, they'll not go and check the second one. Or for already we have checked one of them is blank. So both blank, they'll never check that. Developer is already. So sometimes when you're writing a test case, you need to remember one thing, guys. It's not about writing a multiple data, right? Or multiple test case is a good art or considered as a good testing skill set. The minimum test case and maximum coverage is considered as one of the best approach. And again, purely depend upon application functionality ability. So if you look at technically, how many test cases I have written? 5. Right now for login. Question is, should I go and automate like a 5, something like this? So this is a one test
we
case.
can also check the rate limiting, right?
In case application have that function.
Okay.
You got it? Here, why it is not matter? Because you understood my point, right? It's fixed. So rate limit is possible where when you are creating, like take example, you go to this website, I am going to register the user and application is following that. You getting my point, right? But already I have a user, in that there is no rate limit, correct now? Already it has been created.
No, rate limiting is where the password is expired and you're trying to hit the old password and it should not allow you to log in.
In case it is there, that's what I said. In this application is not there. I'm asking you as per the application pattern. See, you cannot have a same approach for every problem, correct now? Agree?
Right. Yes.
It's not like what you are saying or others has told is a wrong approach. It's a correct approach, but your application should have that behavior, right? Everyone getting my point, right? That's what I gave you the different situation, because I want you to analyze and think how you will approaching it, right? Because here are the two purposes we are trying to, right? I'm not trying to teach you the testing, how you should do it. I'm more trying to teach you. Suppose I have a test case written. Technically, people will think, okay, hey, I have a 5 test case. I should go and automate as a 5 script. No, that is not the right approach. Because if you are going to do like this, suppose this is my test for call on a login 1 or login test case 1. And then again copy this and we'll do the 5 times. Login test case 2. Then I'll go and change the username. First is valid, second is invalid, right? Like that, if I do 5 times, do you think it's a good approach? 5 test case, 5 script?
No, parameterization.
Right. Why we should not do that way, guys? Because you are duplicating the effort, right? You are repeating the code. See, what is changing if you look at technically? Only the change is here, data. And based on data, your output is changing. Correct now? If my username and password is correct, I will expect to get the dashboard. But if anything is wrong, I'm not supposed to get the dashboard, right? That's what the expectation is. So this is where you have to do a parameterization, write a logic, many things, right? I'll come back on that. But this qualifying for parameterization, because parameterization helps you to do, right? Parameterization helps you to do what? The another advantage of parameterization is many test cases can be covered by single script. Got it? So one script will have a 5 test case coverage. So it is also called many to one. Basically in automation, most of your test case will get covered by, because it's the data. Other language is the data. Certain test case you will have where you will have a 1-to-1, but most of the places will have a many to one. Many test case, one script. Clear, guys? Let me show you one more example. Let's log into this application, everyone. Okay, go to the admin page. Go to the add user page. Okay, watch out for this page for a minute if you have, and take another minute time. If you have that application, open it, go through that. Tell me for this add user functionality, how many test cases you will write? How many test cases is possible for this page? And again, understand the requirement first. See, there is a 2 ways to understand the requirement. One is through the requirement document. Second is by going through the application. Third is based on your past experience. Fourth is you can ask some team member who is quite experienced into the team, who has gone through this kind of functionality. right? There are various ways. There is no rocket science or there is no one way of understanding. I know many people say that requirement document. See, requirement document, today world you can't go and ask, right? Everything will not have a requirement. So that is where you guys have to apply your brain. You have to apply your experience or product knowledge. Anyone? Any number? Let's not think about right and wrong. Let's give a try. Okay, first of all, guys, can you see here this star? What is the meaning of a star?
Mandatory field.
Mandatory field. So don't you think that I should test by leaving all of them one by one blank, right? Because that is a possibility user might miss, right? See, you are testing. Testing has a thought process, right? You know. So how many mandatory fields? I have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Straightforward 6 negative test case, right? See, always guys remember, you have to first divide your scenario into the two, positive, negative. Start finding the positive and start finding the negative. Right? That's all. So how many positive test cases? How many negative test cases? So by default negative test cases I found out 6. Any more according to you? This is where application knowledge, product knowledge, your past experience, everything matter. Okay, don't you think that I should create a positive test case with each role because it has a permission base, right? So one is with admin, all the value. Second is with ESS, all the value, right? And the status is enabled and disabled. What if user have a disabled status? They should not be able to log in. User who has an enabled status should be able to log in, right? So 2 plus 2, 4 test case. In positive itself we found it. So positive is 4. Okay. Any other negative is possible according to you?
If we give wrong employee name in the hints.
Long employee name, anyway, employee name is a predefined value, right? So your test should not again go ahead with that direction because those test cases becomes unnecessary, right? Only the two situations should be here. Select the user from the list which is given, and another is give any user which is not in the list. I think that should be the enough, right? Now, because you give long, you give blank, everything blank anyway we have covered, right? As a negative scenario. But here I should come, and during the positive we are covering one of the user which is from the list. Correct? Now, once should I test it without the employee name which is not in the list, and I should get a message called no record found or invalid. Make sense? So 6 plus 1. Any other test case? How about the username which is already there? Correct now? That is also one test case. I should get this message. So plus 1.
And if we gave only 2 alphabet, 2 or 3 alphabet, because it required million numbers.
Correct. Because we have a one test case is that it should have a bound equivalence partition. Bound. Minimum 5 correct. So already we have tested with a 1 positive, and now minimum 5 correct. That means anything below 5, any value. What you said is right. I'll have a one more which is called below 5. What else? Good thought process.
Wrong password and confirm password.
Absolutely. See, admin 1, 2, 3, and here is test 1, 2, 3. What you said is absolutely valid. One more. Any other test case? See, you also have to test this way. See, if I give a password like this, you see, like I gave a very basic password, it should display as a weak. If I give a combination of that, it should be considered as strong. Right? That is also test case.
One more negative scenario, password should contain 7 characters, so we can give small one also.
Very good. See? So below 6, below 7, yes, plus 1. Anything else? See, how you got to know all those things? When you spent a time on the application, right? See, you should not, remember one thing, you should not test something which is repeating, which does not have any significance. Like example, whoever said is a valid point, I'm not denying that, okay, employee name is some maximum limit and all. Why to test it the maximum limit? Because anyway, the user is not going to enter this user is going to select from the drop down. Yes, in case it has a limit set, then you can try to test it. Okay, so if I look at here guys, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 plus 4, 50. Almost for ad user, I have a 15 test cases. Should I go and automate as a 15 test cases as a 15 script?
In the positive, we have one more scenario. Password and confirm password is same, then there's no should be red message over there.
Correct. That's what we have tested, that it should valid. It should user should be created, right?
Oh.
That we have already covered now in part of the 4. Everything is valid.
Correct. Got it.
Okay, but yeah, technically, message is what I'm trying to give you guys. I hope everyone understood, right? The message is, see here, we are not going to, see this is my ad user, right? Now I'm not going to write this 15 test case like this and cover it like a 15 test script. Fine guys, so total we have a 15 test case. Now this also qualify for your, which one? It's qualifying for your this record to test or validate application functionality using different data. So here you are not concerned about you're not validating the data, you are validating the application functionality via data. Okay, so that is where parameterization becomes a very, very powerful tool. Yes, many tool or library you go and use it. Like example, you go to Cypress. It's the the parameterization is one of the simplest job, very easiest, because they have built their own logic internally, which they call as a fiction. You don't have to do too much of hard work. But in Playwright, we don't have this choice. And it makes sense. It's not like everyone has to build every features. See, Playwright is trying to achieve everything. They cannot go and have every option available for the user. It's just because they have to compete with someone, but they have given the better, easier, simplest option. And that is what we call as a data source. Now, whatever the data we discuss about, suppose we just now discuss about, I'm going to validate the this 49 scenarios for Blaze demo application, right? This is also data. Where should I keep my data? That is what the question is called as a data source. Okay. So again, this is not a concept of Playwright. This is not a concept of Selenium or anyone. Most of the tool, most of the library in the market, they support multiple source to read the data, and it's depend upon people also, right? The team also, many people follow the certain, right? What Playwright says if as we are using Playwright with Node.js means your JavaScript and TypeScript. So as per them, the advisable approach is, they are saying the best approach to hold the data or use the data is JSON file. Anyone has heard about guys JSON file? What is JSON? Okay. If anyone has heard about GREAT, if you have not heard about guys, it's called JavaScript object notation. Anyone knows how the data is stored in the JSON? I thought many people are aware about
Key value pair.
Key value pair. Same like your dictionary kind of, right? So it stores the value as a key value pair. Okay. Key value pair where the data is going to store as a. So we will talk about that. And this is highly used data source in the world of development and even in the world of testing. Market prefer, project prefer, customer prefer, most of the people prefer holding a data in the JSON. And one of the biggest reason why JSON, because data preparation is easy, and second is one of the fastest mode of it's a fastest mode of transferring the data. Okay. So we to send a data, receive a data, right? In API, in application, you will find most of the developers are using a JSON as your mode for data purpose. And here also, Playwright also says, as you are using Node.js, JSON is a concept of Node.js. Please go ahead and use the JSON as your reference point. Okay. Second, you can also hold your data in the CSV file. Anyone has heard about CSV? What is CSV? This is the second lightest file considered in the. You can also hold your data in the CSV file. Anyone has heard about CSV? What is CSV? This is the second lightest file considered in the market. It's called comma separated value. So the two data, between the two data, suppose I have a username and password. How are we going to differentiate? Through comma. We'll say admin. So two column or two data will be differentiated via the third Excel file. You can also read the data from Excel file. This is what, if you remember, many people in Selenium uses that. But for that, Selenium does not have a feature. So you have to use Apache. It is in Java. It's a Java language. So if you are going to use Playwright with Java, you have to use the same library. Okay. You can also keep your data in the script file. I mean to say that some type a script file directly. It depends upon situation, guys. It's not like it is advisable to go, and you can also read data from the database. In a simple terminology, let me tell you guys, any source you can go and keep your data. There's nothing hard and fast rule from the Playwright saying that only this data, only this source is allowed or that source is allowed. And in a very simple language, Playwright does not support any file format. It does not have a capability to read data from any file format. Playwright says, I'll go with your language. So if you are using Node.js, in Node.js, JSON file is a default concept. So I don't have any problem. I will read the data from JSON. But if you are using a Java with Playwright, you cannot use a JSON because JSON is not a concept of Java. So in a very simple language, if you want to read a data from any file format, like example, Node.js does not support any other file format except JSON. But imagine a situation in your project, someone has already prepared the data in Excel. Now I don't want to go and ask the team to convert the data from the Excel to JSON. Because if I ask them, it is going to take a lot of time to convert the data. Same for any CSV or database, anything, guys. Remember, Playwright does not have any inbuilt capability. Okay, what Playwright does? Playwright says, I don't have any capability, I do not have any concept. You wanted to do it, please go and add a library related to your language. So example, I want to read a data from Excel file. So Node.js have library by name called, many library they provide. One of the famous library people use that is called XLX library. Similar way, CSV. If you are going to read a data from CSV file, Playwright says, I don't have any library or anything inbuilt in my, you have to use third party. So we have one library by name called CSV library. Similarly, if you want to read a data from the database, any database, now it's depend upon your database. Some people are using MySQL, some people are using Oracle, DB2, PostgreSQL, NoSQL, right? MongoDB, anything. There is no concept with Playwright. Playwright says, I don't know anyone, but I don't say that I don't support anyone. See, you have your language. This is where the language comes in the picture. Because each language provides you the library. So here also you go and add a library, Node.js library, because we are using Node.js library for respective database. Understood? Everyone clear? So if someone asks you this question in interview, I hope you will be able to answer. Playwright does not support any file format. Means they don't have an inbuilt character. It does not mean that they don't support. They support via the language binding. JSON is an inbuilt capability of Node.js, so it's by default supported. And market also says, if you have a data or you are going to prepare the data, please prepare always first priority should be given to JSON. Why? because it is an inbuilt capability of Node.js, hence by default it supports the JSON. But you should know also the other format. Why? Because in case there is a situation come of how you do it, right? And that's what we call them as a, okay. Example, if you guys go to the Playwright website and search for here called parameterize a test. They have talked about that concept. Okay, click on this parameterize test. It will take you directly there. You can either parameterize test or test level or a project level. Parameterize test, they are going the example of one. Okay, so see, I can keep my data, multiple data, like array here, and directly in the script, this is what we call that. In a script, I can prepare my data and then can directly go and read it. Or you can also do it at the by keeping them into the script file. So that is called, there is also one more concept that talks about called environment variable. We'll talk about this also later, not now. That's what they consider them as a called .env files. But env file, the name itself says environment variable, right? Here we are not supposed to keep a data. Here we are supposed to keep some common information which is related to your entire project. You remember someone asked me first or second day, I do not want to expose my password. I do not want to expose my username. Yes, this is the right place where you can keep your data and then pass it. And to do that, they have a ready-made command. And this is what Playwright is supporting. But Playwright is not having a, is an inbuilt capability. So this is how you will be reading a data from the environment variable. The command is called process.env.variable. I'll talk about this later, guys, but understand that. Okay. So this is what we call as a, but it does not have a, it is not an inbuilt capability of Playwright. You have to install the library that we call as a .eng package. See? This is a NPM, we call it a node package manager. So you have to install that. That is what I have provided to everyone, and I asked you to keep it installed, right? Similar way, if I want to read the data from the CSV file, again, Playwright does not have an inbuilt capability. Playwright is saying Node.js, this means you can directly read the file from the file system and parse them with your preferred CSV library. So this is the data which is stored in the CSV format, comma separated value between the two column or between the two data. But they don't have an inbuilt library. So that's what they are saying. You have a CSV parse library. Again, this is provided by NPM. This is what you have to install it. Okay. Here on the Playwright documentation, they have not talked about Excel, they have not talked about database, because they are not supporting any. They are not saying I support MySQL or Oracle, or I don't have a. What you have to do is, right, you have to go back to your, to your application. I mean to say, you can always go to the Google and search for a NPM library for Excel. They'll provide you a lot. Like how you have Apache POI for Java. You have same for C#, Python, many other like. Okay. So you have a library provided by the Node.js called XLJS, XLX, this, many are there, many are. Each has their own purpose. Like you go to the market, you have a car from the different company, right? Different companies, right? Same concept. Each car will have a different flavor, functionality, behavior. The highly one, and why I have kind of already given well in advance to all of you to install it, is called XLX XLite. And I'll tell you why this. See, you can also go and use the XLJX, but each has a different flavor, different advantage, different drawback or limitation. Okay, so this is, so in case who has a personal laptop, has a permission, I'm just sharing all these command. Please, if you have already installed, great. If you have not installed, go ahead and install it. Means run this command through your okay. If you have already, it's great. JSON we don't require. Why? Because JSON is an inbuilt capability of Node.js. Okay. In fact, if you want to do it for database, even we have that concept as well. Node.js library for MySQL. Okay, so because I have a database in my system, just wanted to show you guys. You will get all these things. Your concepts would be clear. You can't go and cover each and everything, but if you go and just search that way by saying that library for PostgreSQL, DB2, MongoDB, whatever. See, example, I have a mini library, but I have to install this library called MySQL 2. This is the library that you have to install it. Okay, and this guy has also given the complete documentation. This is where your TypeScript, JavaScript will come into picture. Because here Playwright does not have any clue, does not have any. Playwright says, I don't know anything. You read the data and give it to me, right? And use it in my script. That's why they have given here that you have to install this command. After that, you have these things. Example they have given, how to connect, read data, and use it in the script. This is where your TypeScript, not even TypeScript, it's all command of the will come in the picture. Okay, fine guys, everyone is clear. I hope you have a clarity now. Anyone, any questions around that, let me know. Great. So if you are done, now what I'm going to show you guys how you are going to go and read the data from the different, how you prepare and all is your, okay. Just if you guys have already installed it, please go to your package.json, because remember till now you have never installed anything except the one command which we call as a npx playwright test. Because once that playwright, right, when first time we were creating the project, now you all should go to package.json. Okay, and you can see here guys, there is a couple of libraries. And there is a two section you guys will find it. One we call as a dev dependencies and one we call as a dependency. Under the dev dependency, if you go, you will find something called playwright test. And if you go to the dev dependencies, you will find something called CSV, .env, MySQL, XLX, all these library, you guys will be able to see that. In case you have already installed. If you have not installed, then as far as I know, you guys do not have a permission to install.
So one question, and those libraries which we are installing externally, so it will comes to dependency, and which is coming in build, it will come to dev dependency, is it?
Absolutely, absolutely. That is the pointer to remember for the interview, because sometimes they'll ask you what is the difference between depth dependency versus dependency. So anything which is Playwright own library means Playwright has built it. This will come under the depth dependency. Like example, down the line, I'll be showing you certain more library. One library by name called Allure Report. Allure is a very famous reporting concept, right? Some people would have heard about it. It is built on Java, but very famous in market because of their usage policy. So what Playwright has done that they have gone ahead and built the library for them. Not someone third party has built it, they have built it. So they say anything which I have built it, it is my baby. I will control it. Anything which is not my baby, I don't know. Like these are not Playwright baby. Is that clear? Everyone? Okay. So who all has this library already installed? By the way, the one real-time project, no one go and uses the other library except the JSON. Not library, means file format. In Playwright, in Cypress nowadays, because there are two advantages. First advantage is JSON is a lightweight file and very faster compared to any other file format. That's what in APIs, web services, you will see people are using JSON as a data format to receive or to send. So if you, and that is inbuilt capability. So you guys will continue your journey on that, but only to make you aware that in case in future you have a data around the CSV or data around the Excel or data around the some other thing, then you can go ahead and use this. You have to use this library.
Abhinav, there are two things, CSV and CSV parse.
CSV. See, if you look at here, the command that I gave you, that is what we call as a CSV. This one.
Basically,
that was
the use case of it.
What is that?
What is the use case of it? This parse, CSV parse.
We'll talk about that. Okay. Fine, guys. Okay. Now, if you remember, all of you, I asked you in the initial itself to create a 2-3 folder, UI test, API test, and I also asked you to create one more folder by name called test data. I hope everyone has that 3 folder, because now the test data will come in the picture. Any idea what will keep in the test data? Any guess? Wild guess?
Most probably JSON file or RAW.
All the kind of data, JSON file, Excel file, CSV file, whatever the file format. See, at the one centralized location, we wanted to keep our information. That is the whole purpose. Again, remember, it's not a mandatory things that you have to do like that way only, but it's a good practice. From the day one, I'm keep telling you there is something called good practice, good coding skill set, and that is exactly we are trying to convey that through that. Okay. Now let's go to that. The first test case which I am going to cover it, guys, where I wanted to showcase you this capability, which is called, okay, to validate my data via application, right? So, and again, you guys can give a name like that because it will be easy for you to remember. And what I'm going to do that, if you look at here, I've given the name called, okay, read data from JSON _ orange HRM app. Okay, so what I'm doing it basically, I'm going to read the data from the, that's what is the purpose of this test case, to convey the message. Okay, again guys, it's up to you what naming convention you wanted to give. Okay, and then go to the test data folder, everyone, right click and let's create a one new file. I have created one already file by name called orange hrm.json. That is where I am holding my data. The name of the file is called orangesrm.json. Okay, everyone. Now, people who are aware about the JSON data format, great. People who are first time seeing it, let me tell you, this is how the JSON format will be. So JSON is generally called as a JavaScript object notation. There the data is always stored as a key value pair. So left side is whatever is written is key, right side is whatever written is your value. Value can be again based on the data types. If it is a string, it should be in the double quotes. If it is integer, boolean, float and all, it should be without double quotes. Okay. And if you have a multiple set of data, then you are going to write them as a, so in JSON always the data start like that, curly braces open, curly braces close. And if I have a multiple set of data, copy the same thing 5-6 times. Like example here, I'm only testing the valid data. So the purpose of this to showcase you if you have a situation where you have to test your application with a different set of data. I do not have a right now, but yes, in case, imagine the situation. And then if you have a data, more than one data, you are going to store as a your object, right? That's what it will be treated also like a array list, right? So that's what we'll give this. So this will become iterable, right? And you remember yesterday I told you, whenever you have a data in the iterable format, array list, right, and all those things, basically like a collection concept, we have a very easiest concept in JavaScript and TypeScript in form of, you don't have to go and use the for loop because you don't have to count here the length. It is a iterable object. So we have talked about for off and for in. So everyone take this data, put it in your JSON file. Okay, I have passed the user URL also from here, but it is not advisable to do it. URL should not be from here. URL should be always from the one centralized location because URL is not considered as a data. But just someone asked me in the last class that can I parameterize the URL also? I said yes, anything you can do it. But please remember that everything has a meaning, right? What to do and what not to do. See, URL does not consider as a data. Okay, so where you have created this file, guys, make sure that you are creating a file by an extension called .json. So go to the test data.
Please share the code and chat also because we can't. Thank you.
Okay, now let's go back to the guys here. Let me show you how you are going to read this data and pass it to your script, right? This is where we are going to talk about the parameterization. Okay, now see, we are going to deal with the data. Data is coming from the some other file format. Which file format? The JSON, right? Now, any programming language you go, typically you have a situation where you can read a data. So to read a data from any file format, first of all, that language binding has to read the file. Because, and to do that, again, every programming language comes with an inbuilt class or library which has a concept which can help you to read the data, because the Playwright does not have that concept, remember that. And Playwright is neither supporting anyone saying that I support JSON, because it will be looked biased. So they're saying I don't support anyone, you provide me the data, I'll use it in my script. So here I have imported guys FS. Till now you have not seen, except the Playwright, you are not importing anything, but first time we are importing. So FS is called, guys, it's coming from the Node.js. It is nothing to do with Playwright. FS is full form is called File System Library. The purpose of this library is to read the data from any file format. It could be JSON, it could be Excel, it could be XML, CSV, any file format. These guys support that. Same like concept in Java. In Java also we have a file. File is a one class in Java, right? Or file input string. Many are there. So I'm importing this. They have a class by name called FS. Okay. Now this guy has a method called read file sync. This guy will help you to read any file, and that's what I'm giving a path here. Dot means my current project. Test is a folder. Under that test data is my folder, and under that this is my data. So I'm going to say, hey, read this data and store it into this variable. Okay, you all know that, I told you, right? The difference between the JavaScript and TypeScript is your data types. So I cannot say just like JavaScript, if I say it will work, but TypeScript it will not work. Because you have to convey whether it is string, integer, what kind of data types, right? But anyway, I'm storing to the objects. Now I have all the data which is read from here and stored into this variable called objects. Okay. Now, remember one thing, the read file sync doesn't know whether your data is in JSON format, Excel format, CSV. This guy doesn't know. This guy knows that you asked me to read the data. I read the data, I store into this variable. And this data will come as a normal objects. It is not going to come as a key value pair. Okay. What you are supposed to do, you are supposed to convert them into the JSON back. That's what I am going to use a guys called JSON.parse. This is again inbuilt capability of Node.js. So what is the parse is going to do? Convert a JavaScript object notation string into an object. So it will get you back into the what? Key value pair. And how I'm doing, that's what I'm saying here. Hey, go to objects, that's what the data is there, and convert them to the string, right? Because it has to be the return, your data type is string. So I'm converting them, decode to a string according to the specified character encoding, okay? And store that finally into the users, which is basically your array or list of data. So once I have a data in array, which we have discussed about, right, yesterday, guys, if you go to JavaScript and TypeScript, they have provided a lot of loops concept. One of the loop concept is very famous when you are going to do for any iterable objects, something like arrays, right, list, many are there, right? You always use, guys, for loop, for all. So what we are going to write, we are going to say here, const, we have created one variable called const record of users. Means go to the users, take the data one by one and store it into the record. So they will go first, they'll take this first set of data, which has a value as a key value. Now why I have written this test case this here? This is for mapping purpose. Because I wanted to display the test case ID in my result. That's what I've done here. Because this will be good for traceability purpose also, guys. Tomorrow out of 5, 1 has failed, I'll get to know which test case has failed, right? So if you look at here, that is how I have written test orange HRM, and this is called concatenation. Within this message, which is a user defined message, I'm passing orange HRM login, something like this, you can write it. In front of that, please display my record.testcase. Record is this, test case is your key. They'll grab the value of the key. Okay, this is not mandatory, just printing out, like how in Java you have a system.out.println, here we have a console.log. But my main job is to pass those things, so that's what I'm writing here, page.goto, and then I'm saying record.url. Next, this is not a mandatory because I have recorded the script, sensitive. So I'll take out those things. Record.name, record.password. See, make sure that whatever the key value pair is given, same thing you are using the key. And then click on the login button. Because we are testing for all valid value, we are going to wait for that, hey, I should get a dashboard. Correct? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to identify that locator via using XPath, anything you can use, store into the variable, which is called your web element kind of things, and say, in that placeholder to have a text which is going to come from the here. Whatever the expected result is coming from here, verify against that. And then finally log out. So what I did is, I achieved all my 5 or 10 data with a single script without writing a multiple script. This is what we call as a many to one. And this is all thanks to parameterization. Okay, everyone take this, run it, and let me know if it is working.
Abhinay, why are we using that toString in line number 6?
Yes, because of the TypeScript. Because TypeScript follow the data types concept, right?
Right. So basically, all of the parameters that we are passing, right, for a test,
Is this
URL, password, everything is basically we are converting it to string. Because it's already string, right?
Because it's all are string. If I have a different data format, then there is a different way to do, which I'll show you in the next.
Okay.
I've been unable to use that FS right now because Jason is not working on our system.
For me also the same model.
What I didn't.
No, the first is not accepting, the file system is not accepting the machine. I'm showing need to install some npm file format like.
First is a inbuilt capability.
And I find name first like that message is coming. Yes.
And do you guys have a permission to install that? Can someone share the screen and show me?
Yes, I can show you. Yes. Can you see my screen now?
Not yet. Anyone else who can go ahead and share it?
Now you can? No. Somehow my system got hanged that one.
I'll share it.
No. Yes.
Please share it.
Yes, you will.
npm-save, they are saying type notes. Can you copy that command? Try. Just type, click on that, install now. Click on install. Yes, that is another way to do it. Let's see if it allows you. Okay. Now try to run that. Now try to run that. Wait. It's already done, right now. Installation is already done. Now you don't need now.
Yeah.
Just run the script.
Yeah, just run the script, but it's showing some $sign. It's not aligned.
And that I'll tell you. The $sign is not because of that. $sign is because of your script name that you have given in the wrong place. So you have given the name called parameterized test.specs.ts, right? Where is that file? It is under the test or under the UI test. Sakshi, it's for Sakshi, I'm telling you. Because she is sharing the screen.
Okay, my system got shared somehow. Okay, no. What are you telling me, sir? Sorry, Vinay, please repeat.
No, what I'm saying, where is your script?
Jason is here.
Jason is there. Where is your script? Parameterized.
I'm just trying to put it down. I know. I tried this, but yeah, somehow not working for me, so I dropped this. Look, it's showing me like that.
Take a minute. Sakshi, go to the code share or chat and copy the code and get it. Code I have given you. Chat I have not given you.
I can't go on. In the chat you have given. I can't open code share, no?
Okay, I have given in the chat.
I shared that.
So Bala, you are also getting the same error, na? FS. Put a cursor on the FS and see if you are getting an option called install.
Yes.
Click on that. Okay. Now try to run. Okay, no test found, right? What is the name you have given? Read data from JSON orange HRM. Okay. Now look at here your folder name. Can you see, Bala? Line number 5. Can you see your path of the file? You have given test underscore data, right? Now I have given test data. So change it to test underscore data. And you have given the name called orangehrm.json.
That's fine. Yeah, I changed on that one, but I have not changed for the above.
Now run that. Wait, it's still throwing the error, FS.
Okay,
But I think it should be able to run because it is a syncing issue. So what you can do is, Bala, once the execution is done, then you can go and close the Visual Studio and relaunch again.
Okay.
You will be able to see the FS issue is resolved.
Sure, okay.
Okay.
Can you share the code, Abhinay, in chat also?
I have done that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, open the report also, Bala, and just show to everyone. It's going to open. Just a minute, wait. Because I was printing all the console.log, that's why it is showing you. But yeah, in the report, open the report. This is where, guys, you can see that all the test case name is showing. Just go back, Bala, click on the back button again. See here, test case 1, test case 2, test case 3, test case 4, right, guys? Can you see everyone? Because we were mapping it, right, in our test result. The purpose of that, this gives you the two flavor. One is called, you are trying to convey all these test cases are covered. In future, in case any test case fails, it will also tell you which test case failed. Only that test case will be marked as a failure, right? So it will be easy to recognize, guys, and that is why we are. Okay, now do one thing, Bala, just close this report, go back to your Visual Studio Code and close this Visual Studio Code and relaunch. Just completely close it, Visual Studio Code.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's okay. They are just showing the read, but it's working, right? Internally, they are not able to resolve, but it's working.
Yes. Whenever this error is coming, we need to install.
No need to. Already you have installed one time, so it is there. I think It is just that without that also you should be able to run that. There is a down call cancel button, and now we can run and check. So it is not required because it is an inbuilt capability. That is what I was saying. But maybe your system is blocking them.
Okay.
So you can just run the code and check once again. It should be. See, if you are getting this right. And whenever guys you get a message call now, like Bala, how he was getting it, no test found. Remember, no test found has a 3-4 reason. Just to answer your question. First reason is whenever you get such error message, anyone, please go and check your file name. Have you given the file name correctly? What happen is many people while giving a file name, they will not add .specs. Okay. Second is while executing, you might have given the file name wrong because many people love to type rather than copy paste. Right? Third is, see, you have kept all your tests under the UI test, but you are trying to run from some other location. So they will also say no test found. And fourth option is, like example, what Bala was getting the error, line number 5, right? Your folder name is something else and you have given something else, right? So they are not able to locate it. So they are saying no test found. So whenever you get a no test found, remember one thing, it's your mistake, something you are doing it somewhere. Clear everyone? So next time, whenever you get a guy's no test found, please remember, you would have done one of the small mistakes. Okay. Fine guys, anyone else who is getting error or they need my help? Okay. Okay. There is remember someone asked that very valid question, why are we doing two-way string? You understood, right? What I explained you. The reason is why I'm doing it because I told you, right, this is the basic difference between JavaScript versus TypeScript. If I'm doing a JavaScript, I don't have to do this because JavaScript does not follow the data types concept. But because of the TypeScript, I have to convert them into saying that, okay, hey, all the return data is going to come into the string form. And because all my data is in a string, hence I had this is a one simplest choice to say convert them into string. But imagine my data is in a different data types. Some data is a string, some data is integer, some data is boolean. Then I cannot do like this. Okay. So you have guys another approach. Let me show you that approach also. So what I'll do is I'll comment this complete line of code, Control A and Control // and then you can write like this way. So okay. So here is another, say everything is same. It's just that we have one more concept, it's not a mandatory, I can take out that, but this is another coming from the Node.js path. Basically, if your path is a different location and your file is a different location and you want to add both of them, we use this path.join. They have a method. And here we give a directory name. They'll automatically understand where is your directory name. In the sense, not a complete path, and just say here test data /orange.js. So this way you can join them, right? Your directory name is keep changing, right? I don't see because in the previous example, what I did is I was giving the complete path like this. ./test. So test is if it is everyone is following. Suppose someone is following end to end naming convention. Someone is following something else. So I'm saying okay, take their name at the runtime That is what the directory name will do. And then concatenate, join this with this directory. And then consider the file path. And then that file path you read. Okay. And then you parse them and store into the. Now, here I am not using the dot to a string. Why? The reason is if your data types are different, then you are supposed to declare like this. One object we call as a type. Login data I created one as a and here I am passing every one reference. Test case as a string, URL as a string, name as a string. If some values are integer, some values are right, this is what you pass it and assign to this login data. And then that is what we are assigning to users. Got it? But if my entire data is in one format, then I'll just say to a string. That is the other also simplest way to convert them into the data types. Understood, everyone? The rest, everything remains same. No difference. Okay. We don't have to write like this also, but yes, I've just written that. We'll talk about. So if you want, you can take this approach also, guys. Have it. Anyway, I'll be talking about in the next one. But in case anyone who wanted to understand how to handle the different data types concept. Okay. Let me execute and check.
So one question, Abhinay. What if we have a different file format? So this is JSON, right? So similarly, we can use like how we have done for JSON for XML or any other file format also. Similarly,
Same. That is what we are going to learn next, right? You remember we discussed about CSV, Excel, XML, any file format, right? It doesn't matter. Logic remains. Okay. You have to read the file, see the reason is why we advise to use JSON, you all understood, right? JSON is an inbuilt capability of what? Node.js, right? And we are using Playwright with Node.js, so it's by default comes handy. Plus, data preparation is much easier in JSON, right? That does not mean that I cannot read the data from another source. We discuss about that, right? Any source. But what you are supposed to do? What is the prerequisite for that? If someone asks you, I told you, right? Playwright does not support them. Playwright is highly dependent upon the particular language binding. So if I am using Playwright with Node.js, then I have to install the library related to that. Or if I am using Playwright with Java, then I have to install the library related to that. Or if I am using Playwright with C# or Python, I have to install the library according to that. And that is what I have given to all of you well in advance. And I hope everyone has already. Fine, guys? So that is what, guys, you remember package.json, I asked all of you to install that. If you want to read the data from database, you want to read the data from CSV, you want to read the data from XLX. Okay. Fine, guys, everyone is clear? Whoever was asking these questions, right? I hope you guys have. If you do not have, please make it ready. When you join after the break, you should have this library. If you want to run those code. If you do not have those library, only you can have a code, you can't run the script. I hope it's clear. Anyone has tried in Selenium, Java, Apache, POI? Anyone has a knowledge? Yes, no?
No,
Okay. But many people come from Selenium background, so you would have heard about there is a library called Apache POI, right? Very famous library.
Isn't, but it's been almost 4 years.
Correct.
I was working in Tosca now.
Yeah, Tosca is a tool, so there everything is ready-made. That is the beauty of tool versus library, right? These are open source library. Open source will not provide every facility, right? Because see, they can do it, but why you know that they are not doing it? Because it will look biased that I am supporting Microsoft product and that, right? That's what they're saying. And plus, see, Tosca, you are using someone tool, right? In Playwright, again, there's a multiple language binding. Each language binding has their own reason and choice, right? So they don't want it to force them people that to use only these things, this file or that file. They said anything you want to use, add the library related to that. So anything you are using in the node, you have to go and add a library related to that. That's what we say. Node install, and then not node, we say npm install node package manager, and then we say what if I have to use a CS. Or XLX or any, right? You will get it. That you have to find it, guys. Okay, so we'll wind up for now.